the largest spread in college football playoff history, James Madison being the underdog against Oregon in Eugene, and for good reason, man. Oregon looks really good. I think this is going to be a tough game for James Madison to overcome. Although James Madison defense, very impressive. They have a very good defense. And look, I'm just going to say one thing out loud here. Oregon lost their only loss of the season. You know who it was? Indiana. Do you know what Indiana has right now? A lot of former James Madison football players with Kirk Cegnetti going over there. Maybe, just maybe, that's their kryptonite. James Madison football players against Oregon. I'm not holding my breath on that one, though. The biggest thing that I have with Oregon is how healthy are they? Are they healthy enough to win this football game and not get upset? Obviously, being the largest spread in college football playoff history, all you're asking for is for them to be doubted. And that's what James Madison's walking into right now, to just be doubted. And they have nothing to lose in this football game, everything to gain from. And on the flip side, Dan Lanning, he's done a great job with Oregon this year. If they get upset, could you imagine how that happens?
Yeah, well, that you make a very good point. It really does become, does Oregon maybe tighten up in this game? I don't think they do. Like, I think that they are so far above JMU that they're not going to go into this game like scared or terrified or whatever. But I think if JMU puts, a little pressure on them, we go into the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second, it's a 3-point game and JMU has the ball, some weird situation where Oregon hasn't blown the doors off them yet. Everyone on Oregon's sideline, coaches, players, everyone involved is going to be like, what the heck is going on here? This is not normal. We beat Oklahoma State, a Big 12 team, 69-3. Like, this is not really how this is supposed to go. So I am sure that Oregon's going to keep their composure, but there is definitely an element of like JMU literally is not expected to win this game. Nobody in their right mind, I don't think, is picking JMU unless it's literally just to be facetious or because they expect that this is exactly going to be the defining factor, that they are going to be able to play more loose, more free. I don't think anybody's looking at analytics and saying that JMU is the better team here. When you look at Oregon's games, like, they have big wins. Penn State kind of fell off, but that's a big win. They beat an Iowa team that everybody wants to give credit to. I am not going to do that. I will never, ever do that. I'm sorry if you want me to be unbiased. I'm just not going to do it.
The USC win was big too. That was basically a playoff and elimination game too. So
exactly. So like, this Oregon team has shown up. JMU that did what they could to get in this situation. They just don't have the same caliber of wins. Like,
they don't by any means. They don't have the resume, and that's the biggest gripe that people have about G5 teams being in the college football playoffs right now. Is
right.
Yeah, they might have the record, but they aren't playing. Some people are saying, not me. I'm not completely in this boat. That are saying that they're not playing the same kind of football. That I'm not going that far down the road with it. I do think that there might need to be a line drawn, but I'm not going down that line. On the other side, though, although they might not have the same resume, they might be playing the same opponents. When you look at the defensive numbers of James Madison, they're really impressive. Actually, some of the numbers are better than Oklahoma's defense in the country. Of course, you're talking about opponents versus opponents are different. If you were going to adjust it, it'd probably be differently. But in the eyes of just playing straight ball, James Madison's numbers in some categories, some key defensive categories, are actually better than Oklahoma's. And Oklahoma's is seen as the best defense in the college football playoffs right now. Sahir West is one of the most interesting players that I have paid attention to for James Madison. Freshman defensive lineman, first-year player defensive lineman out of Baltimore, leading the team with 7 sacks. Imagine this scenario. This is, I think, could be the best scenario for James Madison. I think you can really maybe go into the conversation of, okay, maybe they can get this done. This defense, this is the first time they're going to be playing a pretty big defense or a pretty big team. They want to prove themselves they have a good defense. Oregon gets the ball first. James Madison gets a 3 and out, and then James Madison scores on their first drive. What happens then? All of a sudden, the crowd might get a little quiet in Eugene.
Gloves are off. Yeah. It is for real. We talked about numbers on paper earlier. The numbers in this one actually are more even than in that Ole Miss game that I was mentioned, or not the Ole Miss game. Which game? That was Miami that we were previewing. They're actually relatively even. So, like you said, it's got to be adjusted, I think, on some level. But like we talked about with the Tulane game, it's one game. Can they suit up for one game? Like, then they just got to do it again the next week, obviously, like, to keep going. But for one game, one quarter, one play at a time, can James Madison find a way to be better than Oregon? That's all you have to do. You have to be just slightly faster or just slightly scheme it differently, where it's literally one play at a time. This is a team that absolutely can beat a very good team in Oregon. This James Madison team is very capable of doing it. Will they? I want to pick them so bad. I really, really do. I don't think I can and still be talking about sports tomorrow. Like, I think I probably have to pick Oregon here.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I think Dante Moore's just too good. I think even with the fact that they might not be a 100%, the entire Oregon team, obviously, like there's some really good players on that team that might not even be going in this one. They might save them for the next round, which is kind of sucky to say out loud, but that's completely true. They might be looking ahead, and that's another problem. Hopefully, they're not looking too far ahead. I think Dan Lanning will probably have that team being just fine. But look, when you look at some of these games, I go back to that USC game. It was a playoff elimination game. Moore stood out. He had 257 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He was super impressive. They beat USC 42-27. I don't think James Madison is as good as USC. So when you look at games like that, when things are on the line, when crunch time's happening, and it was in Eugene as well, that's where I'm leaning towards. I think Oregon wins this game. I don't know if they score as many points as they did against USC. I do think there's a little bit of caliber to this James Madison defense. I don't think it's as impressive as their numbers do show because of resume, though. I'm going to go 35-17. So they're going to cover, but just barely. I think 35-17 is my final score in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for certain. It's a 21.5 point spread and over under 48. So they're anticipating close to a 30 to, what would that be? Like 35-15 roughly would be about their prediction. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think James Madison keeps this lower scoring than it probably should be, or most people are predicting it to be. And I think Oregon's probably honestly okay with that. I think that they're okay with just kind of hanging around a little bit. They know they can turn it on at the end of games. Of course, they're going to want to blow the doors off them, but if it becomes a slugfest, I think Oregon still feels okay in this one. I don't think that caters too much to JMU. I honestly see this being a little bit lower scoring, maybe a 28-10 kind of final. James Madison finds a way to score twice. It never really gets all that close. Maybe it's a 10 points in the second half type of situation, but I don't think you can't count them out entirely. They are very capable of beating this team, but Oregon's just really, really good, man.
Who do you think has a better chance of winning out of the G5 teams? Tulane against Ole Miss or James Madison versus Oregon?
I mean, I think when you're looking at the matchup, you have to go Tulane just because of who they're playing in Ole Miss. Obviously, it doesn't. Neither of these are an easy pick, though, because like Tulane got their doors blown off earlier, and James Madison, I mean, like, it's Oregon. So I think between the two, you probably have a better chance if you're going Tulane, but like neither are great.
No, neither are not good choices as well, for sure. I agree. I have Oregon winning this game. I think they take care of business for sure. And then it sets up a really good game between Oregon and Texas Tech in the next round for sure. That's going to wrap it up for this episode right here at Marv and Rauh in the morning. Really appreciate everyone joining in this morning. A little longer than usual, but we had to get these previews out. We had to get it going for sure. So be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you are watching or listening. If you're seeing this in a clip, thank you for watching. Hit that like button as well. Drop some comments. Leave your thoughts. We always love getting back to you. We respond to every single comment on the channel. We'll see you back here next time right here on Marv and Rauh in the morning.